What's me too, Capital G here, looking at a brand new Cyberdark Dragon coming out of Duelist Pack 18, and this one is interesting because when I first saw this card, I thought that I would be like really excited, but I don't know, I had mixed feelings about this, and it's not that I don't love legacy support, which I do, and I really like when Konami, pushes the nostalgia button. You guys saw how excited I was about the Immortal of Thunder getting a new card, and I mean, that's a fucking 15-year-old card. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome, because it felt like they kept the spirit of the old card, but they made the card way more playable and way more practical than the old version, and I kind of thought that they were going to do that here, but I also remembered Cyberdarks as an archetype, and it's not a pretty picture. I'm going to talk a lot about GX in this video, and I'll probably spend a couple of minutes talking about that before I even get to the card, and it's just so you guys understand where I'm coming from, because if you weren't playing during GX or you aren't familiar with GX, then you probably just don't quite understand it. I'm going to try to help you with that. So anyways, Cyberdarks came out of Cyberdark Impact, and they're a really old archetype. They're like 11 years old from the GX era, and they were supposed to be really good, but they ended up being a colossal failure. They were basically like this little baby machine archetype where all the monsters are like gadget size, but you have to incorporate dragons into the deck to get their full potential, which is already weird because it's like, okay, it's a machine archetype, but we have to run dragons as well. What the fuck? That's already kind of weird, and they were hyped so much by the anime because the main character, or one of the main characters, Zane, he gave up playing Cyber Dragons to play this fucking archetype, which is incomprehensible. Like it's like literally giving up Necrons to play fucking Dinomist or something like that. You'd be like, are you an idiot? Like, you're not that much of a moron, are you? That's basically what he did because people wanted Cyber Dragon banned in the GX era. That's how powerful it was, and he basically gave that up to play an archetype that was completely mediocre, and it did top one Shonen Jump, and I actually played that deck. It was a Canadian Shonen Jump, but it wasn't because of the Cyber Darks. It was because of like Future Fusion being broken and plays with like Dragon's Mirror, where you can Future Fusion for like 5 dragons, then Dragon's Mirror them for a 5-headed dragon and possibly kill your opponent, and even if you didn't, like 2 turns later, you'd have another 5-headed dragon. Like, it was those plays that made the deck kind of like pretty cool, but it wasn't even that powerful of a deck. So when I look at, Cyberdarks as an archetype, their legacy is not very strong, and you can make a legitimate argument that Cyberdark Dragon is like the worst cover card ever, although whatever the fuck they put on Shadow Specters, I don't even know what that card is. That card is trash. Like, that is probably the worst one ever. So I don't know, my expectations weren't very high for this card, and I mean, I guess the expectations were kind of met here. So this is Cyberdarkness Dragon. Level 10 Dark Machine Fusion, obviously. 2000 attack, 2000 defense. Now, the stat line shouldn't scare you off because the way the original Cyberdark Dragon worked was he was actually a weenie too. He only had 1000 attack, even though he required 3 fucking monsters. But the way he was supposed to work was you equipped a dragon to him from your graveyard, and then he got the stats of the dragon. So if you put a blue eyes on him, he was like 4000 attack, and it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty good, especially back in GX. Like, 4000 attack was like fucking unrivaled back then. So this guy requires 5 fucking Cyberdark effect monsters, and you can't cheat the system here. He must be future, or he must be first, what's it called? He must first be fusion summoned. So, there is no way to cheat the system. And honestly, when I saw the 5 monster requirements, I can only think of 2 cards that will actually allow us to summon this. Number 1 is obviously Future Fusion, which was pretty good for the first or the original Cyberdark Dragon. I could definitely see you bringing this out with Future Fusion. And then the second is maybe you get lucky with, playing like a 60 card grass deck. You mill a bunch of Cyberdarks to the graveyard, and then you activate Overload Fusion, which is actually a card that can summon this guy too, because he is dark just like the original. So Overload Fusion and Future Fusion are pretty much the only 2 ways I can think of getting this card on the field practically. If this card is special summoned, you can equip 1 dragon or machine type monster from your graveyard to this card. This is better because the original one only equipped dragons. This one actually does machines as well, which makes way more fucking sense. I don't know why the archetype ever relied on dragons, but whatever. Then we have the second effect, which is basically a copy paste from the original Cyberdark Dragon. This card gains attack equal to the combined original attack of monsters equipped to this card by this card's effect. So basically, if you have a blue eyes on it, it gains 3000 attack, which, I mean, damn, it does make it 5000 attack if you put a blue eyes or like one of those really big ancient gear monsters. Then finally, we have the third effect, which is totally surprising. I did not see this coming, and it makes it a very powerful card. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or an effect, you can send 1 equipped card you control to the graveyard, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy it. So it's basically a built-in Infinity Barrier. That makes it incredibly powerful, considering if you resolve this guy's effect, you should have it at least at 4,000 attack, somewhere around there. So 4,000 attack with an Infinity Barrier is powerful. Here's my issue with the new Cyberdarkness Dragon. It's not how difficult it is to summon, because the original Cyberdark Dragon was fucking hard to summon. So, you know, I don't mind only being able to summon this damn thing from Future Fusion or Overload Fusion. That's not really a problem. I can work with that. My problem is the fact that you really only get one negate and that's it. Like, I don't understand why this guy couldn't, like, every single turn equip the monster from the graveyard, or why you can't discard a card from your hand to equip the monster. Like, that would have been completely fair. Discard one card from your hand, get a material, the material gives you attack and it gives you potential negation. Like, how's that not fair? I mean, I understand people are going to say, oh, well, Cap G, you can just obviously play a bunch of equip cards like Axe of Despair and United We Stand, but it's like, okay, well, first off, who the fuck wants to do that? Second, then you have to have those equip cards and you have to hope that you summon this damn thing, which is not even that easy to begin with. Like, that seems incredibly situational. Or you have to rely on your original Cyber Darks, which then you have to include dragons into the deck. Like, the good thing about this guy is he can just work with machines and that's it. But if you play the original Cyber Darks and you're looking to normal summon those, now you got to start playing dragons in the fucking deck, and it's like, you know, okay, now you got to throw a whole bunch of shit. If you're playing a 60 card variant, I mean, I guess you could throw all of that in, but I just don't understand why, like, Red Eye Slash Dragon, which is coming out in this same fucking pack, why that card can attack and get, you know, like equip monsters, but this card only gets like one equip. Like, that just seems unfair to me. Hell, the Red Eyes Slash Dragon gets two equipped anytime a Red Eyes monster declares an attack. So, like, you can get 2-3 equips per turn, but this guy only gets one equip. Like, that's it. I just don't get that. Like, they could have had a really, really strong card here if you could have, like, discarded a card and get an equipped, or if it, you know, every time it attacked it got an equipped, or, you know, during the end phase it got an equipped. Just something. Like, one equipped is not enough, because you're probably going to have to throw out a negate on whatever your opponent throws first at you. If they activate like a Pot of Desires, you don't want to let them resolve that. You're gonna have to negate it. If they throw out an Interrupted Slumber, or they throw out maybe a Regeki, you gotta negate that. And then it's like, what do you have? You have a 2,000 dragon sitting on the field that's, or a 2,000 machine that's just gonna get its ass run over by anything in the game. So I don't know. I like the thought of Konami trying to go back to Cyber Darks, but they were so close to making a really good card here, and they dropped the ball, and I don't know why. Even if this card would have ended up being broken, who cares? You have to play fucking Cyber Darks to summon it. Cyber Darks are like one of the worst archetypes ever, so like it should have been broken, because you have to play a shitty archetype to summon it. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. The Red Eye support seems a lot better than the Cyber Dark support. Maybe there will be another or other Cyber Dark cards. If they reveal a couple of other Cyber Dark cards that makes this better, then yeah, you know, things will change and my opinion will change. But I don't know, this card feels just kind of meh. Like, it had the potential to be really good and they just kind of dropped the ball. So whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching as always, and subscribe if you have not already.